Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to day 4 of Newton County's Virtual Learning Experience Parent Connect sessions. Today, we will have special education for our PM session, led by Ms. Brooke Ramsey, the Director of Special Education. The purpose of the Newton County Parent Connect sessions is to offer families the opportunity to gain program information and to help their student and experience of virtual learning in Newton County. We've had these sessions all week, and we are happy that you've been able to attend these sessions. We'll have one more session tomorrow on after school and on our student services. Okay, student and support services. Our virtual Connect sessions are going to start at 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. And this Saturday, we will have our Parent University starting at 9 a.m. Yes, you heard me right, 9 a.m. going to 3 p.m. These sessions will cover how you can support your child getting started with our virtual learning. This session will be at least 45 minutes in length, and it will be recorded and posted on the Newton County website for viewing later. There will be time at the end for answering questions. So if you do have any questions, you can utilize the link on your screen at this time to go ahead and populate those questions in. Ms. Ramsey will answer those questions at the end of her presentation. But I have a good feeling she's probably going to answer most of those in her presentation. She does an amazing job. So thanks again for attending. And the next voice that you will hear will be Ms. Brooke Ramsey, Director of Special Education.
Good evening. I'm Brooke Ramsey, Director of Special Education for Newton County Schools, and I appreciate you joining me tonight as I review our special education virtual and remote learning guidance. Inside the general curriculum, inside the general education classroom, students should utilize the lessons designed for general education students using the Teacher's Canvas page. Special education teachers and paraprofessionals who provide services in the general education setting should collaborate with the gen ed teachers to ensure that lessons are differentiated in the provision of appropriate adaptations, accommodations, and supports for students with disabilities as necessary. Special education teachers and paras will participate in live Zoom class meetings and offer opportunities for further instruction or clarification as appropriate according to the IEP. Breakout rooms will be utilized to offer additional support as needed. In regards to general education curriculum outside of the general education classroom, special education teachers of small group resource classes should follow the same instructional schedule for all teachers at the appropriate level, be it elementary, middle, or high school. Students should utilize specialized lessons using the Special Education Teachers Canvas page. Special education teachers should continue to ensure lessons are differentiated for students with disabilities and allow for access to the general education curriculum as necessary. Special education teachers will participate in live Zoom class meetings and offer opportunities for further instruction or clarification as appropriate according to the IEP. Breakout rooms will be utilized as well to offer additional support as needed. Class meetings will be recorded to allow flexibility in schedules to meet our individual child's needs. Recordings will be accessed through the Special Education Teachers Canvas page, and a link for the recording will be provided. In regards to the adapted curriculum, students should utilize specialized lessons using the unique learning system curriculum. Live Zoom class meetings will be scheduled daily with the classroom teacher. Class meetings will be recorded to allow flexibility in the schedules to meet the individual child's needs, and recordings will be accessed through the Special Education Teachers Canvas page. A link for the recording will be provided as well. Special education teachers and paras will offer opportunities for further instruction or clarification as appropriate according to the IEP. Breakout rooms will be utilized to offer additional support as needed. In regards to vision impaired and deaf, hard of hearing services, students who receive vision impaired or deaf, hard of hearing services should utilize the list of suggested activities that will be provided by the therapist who serves the individual student. Live Zoom class sessions will be scheduled with the individual student and/or small groups according to the IEP. Students with vision impaired services will receive adapted materials to assist in accessing the curriculum. These materials will be delivered to the home using contactless delivery. All right, we also provide some additional services. So students who receive speech language therapy, occupational therapy, adaptive physical education, and/or physical therapy should utilize the list of suggested activities that will be provided by the therapist who serves the student. Live Zoom sessions will be scheduled with individual student or small groups and classes according to the IEP services. Don't forget, if you have any questions as I go through the information, please use the link and type those in, and then we'll answer those when we're finished. All right, behavior support. Students who require social-emotional or behavioral support will be supported by the behavior department. Students previously receiving support in the classroom will be contacted to determine if support is needed in the home. Take-home sensory and hands-on brain break kits will be individually customized for each student. They will be available to parents along with instructional videos modeling how they can be used. Classroom teachers will receive supplemental materials and supports to assist their students to stay on track virtually. Any students needing visual schedules for the home will be provided one for at-home use. Any additional students who require behavioral support may be referred to the behavior department by the case manager. Behavioral support may include individual live Zoom sessions with behavior staff, weekly videos of social stories or social skills, small social skills groups with other students, and also parent training. The Behavior Support Department will also provide virtual field trips to different locations for teachers and parents to use as an educational brain break. Self-paced virtual learning for students with disabilities. Parents of students with disabilities choosing to participate in the self-paced virtual learning model will be invited to participate in an IEP meeting. The district will review the IEP services currently in place, which is the offering of FAPE, which is a free appropriate public education. If the parent chooses to continue with the self-paced virtual learning model, a contingency plan will be developed and attached to the current IEP of services. The team will determine the supports that can be offered considering the choice for self-paced learning. It is likely that the supports and services may be adjusted and not all IEP services can be provided due to the self-paced virtual learning model. Reentry plan for students with disabilities. Earlier this week, Ms. Fury announced that our students with disabilities, along with other students in the district, will be able to re-enter the buildings face-to-face instruction gradually over the next few weeks. Students with disabilities in grades pre-K through 12th served in the self-contained environment can return for in-person learning as early as September 8th. Social distancing and safety guidance will be followed. Students who wish to continue in the virtual environment will not be required to return to in-person learning. All IEP services can be provided in both in-person and school-based virtual learning options. All right, and practices. So I'm going to review now some practices that are in place to give some parents some information regarding some frequently asked questions we've received regarding evaluations, timelines, IEP meetings, FAPE, and progress monitoring. In regards to evaluations and timelines, following all safety precautions, face-to-face assessments have resumed. Evaluations and reevaluations are being scheduled with evaluators. Parents will be contacted regarding scheduling an appointment for students whom an evaluation has been requested. In regards to the initial evaluation, the Georgia Department of Education has provided some guidance, and initial evaluation timelines have been recalculated. An initial evaluation must be conducted within 60 days of receiving parental consent or within the state-established timeline. 5 or more consecutive days when children are not physically in attendance due to the COVID-19 pandemic is considered other circumstances, and such days, including contiguous weekend days, will not be counted toward the 60-day calendar timeline. Additionally, LEAs and parents may mutually agree to extend the timeline to conduct the initial evaluation due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Reevaluations. Following all health and safety precautions, again, face-to-face assessments have resumed. Evaluations and reevaluations are being scheduled with evaluators. Parents will be contacted regarding scheduling an appointment for students whom an evaluation has been requested. And the district and parents may mutually agree to extend the timeline to conduct the reevaluation due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Initial eligibility meeting timelines. Initial eligibility meetings will be delayed until the completion of the initial evaluation. Upon completion of all components of the initial evaluation, the eligibility team can schedule and conduct the initial eligibility meeting unless a parent agrees to extend the timeline, which at that point sufficient written documentation will be required, such as an email, letter, or fax. IEP meeting timelines. IEPs must be reviewed annually. The district and parents may mutually agree to use alternative means to hold the annual review IEP team meeting, including video conferences or conference calls. The district and parents may mutually agree to extend the timeline to conduct the annual review IEP team meeting due to the COVID-19 pandemic. If the parent agrees to extend the timeline, again, sufficient written documentation such as a letter, email, or fax will be required. Initial IEP timelines. Initial IEP meetings will be held within 30 days of the initial eligibility meeting unless a parent agrees to extend the timeline to develop the initial IEP. If the parent agrees to extend the timeline, again, sufficient written documentation will be required. IEP amendments. IEP amendment meetings will not be necessary solely due to the change of mode of instructional delivery or because of a school closure. IEP amendment meetings may be necessary to address students' needs. IEPs may be amended in person or through alternative means for the purpose of making those changes. In regards to a free appropriate public education, also known as FAPE, it is our obligation to provide special education and related services that are proportional to our district's provision of educational services to all students. Special education services during this time of national crisis may not look like they do when we are in face-to-face instruction. Every child's circumstances have changed, and outcomes for all students are likely to be different in this time of home learning than they would have been in face-to-face instruction. It is reasonable that services and outcomes for students with disabilities will be different. However, we must make good faith, reasonable efforts to provide special education and related services. We must make learning accessible for all of our students with disabilities. We may use different means for providing access during school closures. However, we must ensure that the students with disabilities have equal access to the educational opportunities provided to all students in the district. If we offer educational services and make them accessible to students with disabilities, but parents choose for their children not to participate in these opportunities, the district has met its obligation. Progress monitoring. Progress reports on IEP goals and objectives will continue to be issued when quarterly report cards are issued. Districts must report progress on IEP goals and objectives throughout the year, minimally at the same time that students receive report cards. Documentation of the provision of special education and related services. Adaptations, accommodations, and supports is necessary. Each special education provider will document the services provided in a manner that best fits their model of support. Documentation may include any opportunities available to all students in classes, any opportunities extended to students with disabilities, any adaptations, accommodations, or supports designed to tailor instruction for individual students, and the student-parent response to these opportunities. All right, so now here's the link again. If you have any questions after going through that information, please enter those now, and then we'll address those as they come through. While we're waiting for some questions to come through, I did want to share this slide with our contact information on it. I work with an amazing team. I have a team of coordinators. You'll see there the information for Mr. Edward Vrabel, our IDEA coordinator, Mr. Raphael Lewis, our elementary special education coordinator, and also Mr. Tony Tremaldi, our secondary special education coordinator. And we will be extremely helpful if you'll contact our office, and we can support you and your student or answer any questions you may have. All right, and so we'll look for some questions to come through. All right, the first question: how is the system going to help my son with a disability meet his needs for further educational development? Hopefully the information in this presentation was able to help you to see, no matter the choice that you make regarding learning, in-person learning or virtual learning, that your needs for your child can be met. If you feel like there's still some more questions that you may have specific to your child's IEP, we'll be happy to help you if you'll just contact our office. How will an IEP service like speech therapy or para support work? Services regarding any service in the IEP will be provided whether a student attends face-to-face or chooses the student-supported virtual model. As far as speech therapy, students will receive that face-to-face. They will be pulled to a section or an area in the classroom or pulled to a different classroom to receive that support. Or we also have the para support segments that will be provided during the classroom segments, or it will also be provided in the Zoom live sessions through breakout rooms. But those services will both be provided whether you choose the teacher-supported option or the face-to-face option. I have a special needs student who has medically high risk and cannot wear a mask all day. Can my son stay virtual even after school opens? Can he stay virtual all year? And the answer to that question is yes. Although some students can return as early as September 8th, not all students have to return on September 8th. That's still your choice as a parent, that you can decide when they return when you feel it's safe. Can our special needs students wear a face shield only in the classroom and a cloth mask in the hallways, etc.? With the different sensory issues, this would be helpful. Most definitely, we'll take into consideration all of our students' needs, especially those with sensory concerns, and accommodations can be made regarding the mask. How will students get the extra help they need from special education teachers? Whether it's face-to-face instruction or through virtual teacher-supported model, students with disabilities will receive any additional support they may need. This may occur in the classroom, in small group or one-on-one sessions, or it may occur virtually through Zoom with the breakout sessions, but all students with disabilities will receive the additional supports that they may need no matter the option chosen, whether it's face-to-face or the teacher-supported virtual learning. The IEP case manager hasn't contacted me yet like they have in previous years. Will they still contact us before school starts to talk about how the IEP requirements will be met? Most definitely. So this is we're going into our second week of pre-planning, and if you haven't heard from your case manager just yet, that's all right. They'll definitely give you a call before school starts so that way they can discuss your option for your child that you've chosen and what that will look like, whether it's face-to-face or virtual teacher-supported. If my special needs son is struggling with virtual but is too high risk and cannot move into in-person until COVID is over, will there be more help added to the IEP to help him with his struggles? If you feel as if your child, once we start school, is struggling in whatever option you've chosen, an IEP meeting can be requested, and the team can look at where they're specifically struggling or any concerns you may have, and then the team from there can determine if additional supports are needed. How do the breakout rooms work? Will we have to assist with the child entering and leaving multiple Zoom rooms for therapies, sensory breaks, and small group lessons? So the breakout rooms can be assigned on the teacher's end of Zoom, and so students would not have to click any additional links to go into a breakout room to receive additional support or work in a small group with their peers. In regards to entering and leaving multiple Zoom rooms for therapies and sensory breaks and small group lessons. It's our goal, our teacher's goal, our therapist's goal, to limit the number of clicks and links that a child has to perform in order to access their different classes and therapies. And so the teachers are looking at creative ways of trying to use as few links as possible in order to allow the transition between the different classes or breaks and therapies to be minimal at best. My son goes to a self-contained class for his homeroom. Is he required to attend school with the other full-time self-contained children? And the answer to that question is no. The students who were served in a self-contained do not have to return face-to-face September 8th. It's still the parent's choice if you'd like to keep your child at home and participate in the teacher-supported virtual option, then that's perfectly fine. They're not going to be required to return. Teaching is not my ministry, unfortunately. Will there be parent training or mentoring? And so, on behalf of the Special Education Department, we will be providing trainings throughout the year for our parents. We also have a parent mentor who recently has moved into a different position, and so we're actually going to be posting that position very soon. So any of our parents out there who may be interested in that part-time parent mentoring position, definitely reach out to our office. Look for the posting on our website. But in the meantime, we will be providing those trainings. We'll also have a parent newsletter that's going to go out monthly. And then on behalf of Newton County Schools, there will be lots of training available to parents as early as this Saturday. Dr. File mentioned earlier with our parent university. So tune in for that at 9 a.m. Saturday morning. How will parents, grandparents, and other caregivers be trained to switch Zoom rooms? And so again, a lot of training will be provided to our parents who may be assisting students at home with how to navigate Canvas pages, Zoom links, and other areas that our virtual learners will be participating in. Can you please speak to how class testing will occur, especially for children who receive accommodations? So according to the IEP, any accommodations that the child receives at the moment will be provided, whether it's virtual or in class face-to-face instruction. If at any time that those accommodations do not feel like they're meeting your child's needs, just call an IEP team meeting and those needs can be discussed. But accommodations may look like extended time on assignments or things like that. And actually through some of our online curriculum, there's already some built-in accommodations available for all students. If I originally chose virtual learning for my student who is in a self-contained classroom, is there an option for him to go back face-to-face at this point? And the answer is yes. Within the next 48 hours, I will be emailing a link to a survey to only the families of students who are served in a self-contained environment. And from there, parents will be able to choose whether or not you'd like to return face-to-face or if you'd like to participate in the teacher-led, teacher-supported virtual model. So look for that to come out in the next 48 hours or so. And although you've already answered a survey, it's been a while, and we know that parents' answers have changed and wishes for virtual learning versus face-to-face learning have changed. And so with all of this current information, we hope that you'll complete the survey and give us the most recent numbers so that we can be adequately prepared for face-to-face learning for our self-contained students on September 8th. Will the schools still have music, band, chorus for special needs students? Yes. Students will still be allowed to participate in electives or any other courses they would have been afforded throughout the school year if they were face-to-face. Just talk with your child's case manager regarding any particular electives that are needed. If a special education student misses a class, can they view it later? So it is going to be the requirement of teachers and therapists if in a resource self-contained environment where those lessons will be recorded so that way if students are not able to view it at the time that it's live, they can go back and access it. Same thing with any type of therapies that are being provided. If the student is not able to access their therapy that particular week, according to their IEP, then they will be able to go back and look at that recording and participate in those activities at a later date. With high schoolers in the virtual resource classes, how will his schedule work when virtual option 2 was chosen? And so in regards to this question, what you'll just have to do is follow the high school schedule that has been published for parents. You can just follow that schedule just with your virtual resource classes and your content areas. How do you get the behavior kits? So students who were already receiving behavior support in the classroom have been contacted by our behavior department, and those kits are already going out. In regards to students who may need a behavior kit who previously had not received support in the classroom, the case manager will just need to contact our behavior department, and then we can individualize, create that kit for your child, and we can get that to you. How do I find out information about RTI or 504 in the virtual environment? The Special Education Department does not supervise RTI or 504, but you can contact Ms. Kimberly Wilbur for RTI, and then you can contact Mr. Darren Berry for 504s. What happens if I feel I am not getting the help I need for my child with special needs? If you feel like there's some concerns there that aren't being addressed, your first step would need to be to contact the case manager. Hopefully the case manager can meet your needs and address your concerns. And if at that point you feel like those concerns still aren't being met, then you can always call an IEP team meeting, and the team can come together to address any concerns that you feel are occurring with your child and any other needs that they may have. The team can revisit the IEP to see if any changes are needed. Okay. It looks like that may be the last question. I would like to reiterate that you have our contact information there on the screen. If any questions that you may have tonight that you don't want to type into the link, that's perfectly fine. Just give us a call in our office, and we'll be happy to work through those questions and concerns with you so that hopefully you're able to make the best informed decision regarding your child's learning for this school year. All right. Looks like that may be it. I'm not seeing any other questions come through. I appreciate you taking the time to tune in tonight to listen to this presentation. It will be recorded, so that way you can share the presentation with any of your friends, family, peers, anyone who you feel needs to hear this information but wasn't able to tune in. But again, I appreciate you, and thank you for allowing us to support your students.